Oh, there I am. Mandy.
Hi.
Hi. This is Miri. This is Sarah's sister on the far left, and underneath is her sister-in-law Shayna, who had a bat mitzvah today. Was it fantastic? The balloons were amazing.
The what was amazing?
Hi, Sharon.
Okay. We're going to start in a few minutes.
Mandy, this is Sharon in the middle.
Hi.
Well, the dedicated ones are here, Miri. Where's everybody else?
We're just going to wait a few more minutes and then we're going to start.
Uh-huh. Where's the lady of the moment? Is she going first?
No, first we're going to have Advartira and then we are going to have the demo.
Oh, okay, got it.
All right.
There's a Shia first, Mandy.
Beg your pardon?
There's a Shia first.
Oh, okay.
All right. Okay. Yeah, I forgot that I need to admit everyone to the meeting.
How are you, Judy?
I'm very well, Mandy, and you. We must catch up now that we can have two people in the house.
Yes. Or we can go for a walk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, socially distanced.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Let me just see.
I'm going to mute myself.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just going to try to admit everyone into the meeting. I shouldn't have done a waiting room, right? I didn't realize what a waiting room is.
Miri, maybe somebody can remind people on the Young Yeshiva chat that it's on now.
I've just posted it.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I just posted. All right. Info is on the flyer. Okay. All right. Okay. 8 people waiting, admitting all. Hold on a sec. Oh, yay. Sarah is waiting. I don't know why it's taking so long for everyone to join. Okay.
Hello.
Hi, Deborah. How are you?
Good. It felt so exclusive, like waiting to join the
I
meeting.
know. I didn't realize what waiting room is. I had no idea. I'm like, it sounds really cool. It sounds very fancy. It sounds very fancy, so I added it, but like, so silly. Okay, I'll just keep pressing admit all. I wonder if I can remove the waiting room now. Okay. I'm letting everyone in. Oops. Okay. All right, I'm just gonna wait till all of these log on. I don't know why it's taking a while for everyone to join, but as soon as these people come on, we're going to start. Let me see if I can remove the waiting room. Let me just see how I do that. Hello. Okay. Hopefully that means that everyone can just join by themselves. All right, I'm just gonna wait one more minute because it's showing that people are joining and I don't want anyone to miss out on anything. Okay. Okay, great. They're slowly entering. Sorry, I'm really sorry, everyone. It's taking a long time for everyone to join. It's just loading. Okay. Okay. Sorry, now just 4 people down. I'm just waiting for the joining to join. And we are going to start. Okay. Hi, Sar.
Hey, hi, Judy.
I'm shipping so much nafas.
Hey, everyone.
Oh, it's so good to see you.
So good to see you all as well.
Oh my gosh, and Saba's there. Woohoo!
Hey, oh yeah.
There she is.
Hi.
Hi, Saba.
Hi.
I was going to say good morning. I forgot what time it was by you all.
Good evening.
Okay.
Good evening.
All right,
Morning,
just waiting for 2 more to join. And then we're going to begin. Yay, okay, everyone is on. Sorry, everyone, I'm gonna mute you all except for Devorah, who's going to deliver our spiritual part of the evening, and we're so excited to have her here. I'm gonna mute all. Yes, and I'm going to unmute. Devorah, where are you? Here we are. All right, go ahead, floor is yours.
Thanks, Mary. So I love Jewish history. So I love stories of Jewish history, and I especially love learning it again as an adult and seeing the depth in the story that I didn't notice when I was a kid. So the lesson that I found that connects to Shavuos starts with the story of David and Goliath. And I just want to say before that, for some reason, every time I heard this story, I heard it as David and Goliath. So it took me a minute to work out that Goliath was Goliath. So in case anyone else has that confusion, that's cleared up. So Goliath was a giant, monstrous figure. He was 12 feet tall. He was with the Plishtim army at war with the Jews. And he spent 40 days consecutively, morning and evening, cursing and harassing and threatening the Jews. And of course, the Jews were frightened. And Goliath offered them that instead of the 2 armies going to war, why don't they choose one soldier to go against him, and whoever wins, their army is the winner. So who could they choose? Who would be willing to go up against Goliath? Along comes a young shepherd, David, and he offers to confront Goliath. All he has with him is 5 stones and a shield, and somehow, miraculously, he defeats Goliath. The Plishtims run away, and the peace is restored. That's the story that I always learned. But what's the backstory to this? The truth is that David and Goliath weren't really strangers. They were actually quite familiar to each other. And how were they familiar? This takes us back to Megillas Rus, which we read on Shavuos. So just a quick recap of Megillas Rus. Eli Melech and his family, he had a wife, Naomi, and he had 2 sons, Machlon and Kilion. They flee from a famine in Eretz Yisrael, and they run to Moab. His 2 sons marry 2 Moabite sisters who were princesses, Rus and Orpah. So because they were princesses, they were more educated and royal than the average Moabite woman. Rus marries Machlon and Orpah marries Kilion. Soon after they get married, Elimelech passes away. And 10 years after that, unfortunately, without any children, Machlon and Kilion pass away. Naomi is left with nothing. She hears that the famine in Eretz Yisrael is over, and she decides that she's going back to her people. She has nothing left in Moab. Her daughters-in-law love her. They've lived with her for 10 years, and they want to follow her to Eretz Yisrael. So they escort her for 40 steps before she turns around to them, and she tells them to go back. She tells them, you're young, you can remarry, have children, you can have good, happy lives if you stay in Moab. You don't need to come with me. If you come with me, you're going to be poor beggars. You're going to have nothing. No one's going to marry you. You're not going to have children. You're just going to have a miserable life. So Orpah, she understands, and she respects her mother-in-law's wishes. She's sad. She sheds 4 tears for her mother-in-law. She kisses her, and she turns back to Moab. Rus is the stubborn one. She refuses to leave Naomi. She goes back with her, and we know the rest of the story. She marries Boaz and gives birth to the grandfather of David HaMelech. But what Megillas Rus doesn't tell us is what happened to Orpah. So we don't know from Megillas Rus, but we know from other texts that she went back to Moab. And that night that she returned to Moab, she had relations with 100 men in the one night that she returned. She went on to have 4 sons, and one of them was Goliath. So here is the connection between David and Goliath. One was from Rus and one was from Orpah. Some rabbis say that Orpah converted, some say that she didn't, but if she did, this actually makes Goliath a Jew. And who was Goliath's father? So there's also different opinions about this, but some commentaries say that when Shimshon was in captivity, there were many women who would come to visit him to try to get pregnant from him. They wanted his genes. One of these women was Orpah, and she got pregnant with Goliath. So if both of these are true, then actually both Goliath's mother was Jewish and his father was Jewish. So we see a very strong connection to David HaMelech. So Chazal say something a bit strange. They say that as a result of the 40 steps that Orpah took escorting Naomi and the 4 tears that she cried for leaving Naomi, she merited 4 sons that were giants. And for the 40 steps, she merited that Goliath would curse the Jews for 40 days. So it's strange because what kind of reward is this, that her son is cursing the Jews that she was once a part of, and that she has 4 giant sons, one of whom uses his strengths to terrorize the Jews. So what is it about these 40 steps? What's so special about 40 steps anyway? Like, it's not a big deal to walk 40 steps. So to understand this, we have to think about where Orpah came from. At this time, Moab was a highly immoral place. There was pagan idolatry everywhere. There was violence and bloodshed everywhere. It was the epitome of do whatever you want, whenever you want, with whomever you want. People were treated as property. Parents were sacrificing their children to their pagan gods. And it was whatever you felt like, whatever your truth was, just follow your desires and instincts, no matter what. Orpah and Rus, at the end of the day, they were royalty. So they were more sensitive and refined compared to the regular Moabite. And they were able to recognize that there was something special about Elimelech's family. They were attracted to that. That's why they went along and married Michlon and Kilion. And they lived with Naomi for 10 years. So they lived a life of spirituality, of morals, of principles. And this, for a Moabite, this foreign concept of wanting something, but you restrain yourself for a higher purpose. So they saw from living with Naomi that there was meaning and purpose to life. And they lived this life and they actually loved it. They could see that it was good and true. But at the end of the day, they didn't grow up with this. So they were still attracted to the world of Moab. You have to admit that it's very appealing to be able to follow every instinct and impulse with no restrictions. So both of them, they had an internal struggle within them. The life of Naomi and their life of Moab, of doing whatever you want. So when you think about this, the 40 steps are not just any 40 steps. These are 40 steps where she was in deep turmoil. She was challenging everything she was brought up with. She was torn between the 2 worlds. It was 40 steps of asking herself, which world is she going to ultimately choose? Is she going to continue on with Naomi and choose a world of truth, that she knows is true, but she needs to somehow find the courage to restrain herself? Or does she go back to Moab and embrace a world of doing whatever you want? So when Naomi turned around and gave Orpah an out, she cried, she was sad, but she took it. She ultimately turned her back on Naomi, which signifies that she turned her back on the side of herself that knows morals and standards. And she chose the life of Moab. But can someone really, truly, wholeheartedly choose the life of Moab after living with Naomi and spirituality for 10 years? No, you can't. So Orpah did not become a free woman. She became a torn woman. And she forever, for the rest of her life, she had a yearning for Naomi. She had a yearning for a life of dignity and purpose. So what does she have to do? She needs to go home and she needs to numb her pain and have relations with 100 men in one night. And it's not because she was a bad person or because she was a lowlife or because she was so immoral. This shows a woman who's in deep pain that she needs 100 men to numb her pain. It's someone who's deep and sensitive that needs to go to such lengths to numb their pain. Someone who's less sensitive could much easier brush off, turn their back on the pain and brush it off and sweep it under the rug. Someone who's deep and sensitive needs to go to such great lengths to numb their pain. Rus, she had the same struggle as Orpah. She was also torn between two worlds. She also grew up in Moab. But the difference is that she acknowledged her struggles, and so she was able to face it. Orpah couldn't acknowledge the struggles because she couldn't live with herself with the choice that she made. So she had no choice but to bury it deep and pretend it wasn't there. She had to pretend that there was no struggle going on within her. And this is not to judge Orpah, and especially Rus couldn't judge Orpah, because a struggle that you yourself go through, you can't judge someone else for not being able to withstand that struggle. You understand what the person's going through. So it's not to judge Orpah, and Rus, of course, could not judge Orpah. She also had the same struggle, but she had just more courage than Orpah had. So what happens to a mother who's living with this tension and not facing it? It doesn't just disappear. She passes it on to her children. So when we say that she had 4 giants for the 4 tears and Gullius cursed for 40 days for the 40 steps, it's not a reward and it's not a punishment. It's just a natural consequence. Things that our parents don't face and resolve, it doesn't disappear. It got passed on to us. And it's not to judge our parents. Everyone does the best that they can with what they have. But we need to understand that things as parents now, things that we don't confront and deal with are going to be issues for our kids. So our job is to try to be honest with ourselves about our struggles and issues as best as we can. And hopefully we don't pass on the same issues to the next generation. Orpah had these conflicting feelings within herself. And rather than being honest with herself and facing it, she chose to turn away and try to bury it. And the result of that is having children who have the same issues. So when Gullius was cursing the Jews, he wasn't cursing the Jews. Why does someone hate something and curse something? It's not the thing that you're cursing. When you feel so strongly about something, it's usually not to do with the thing that you think you're feeling strongly about. He was cursing himself. He suffered from the same skeletons as his mother, and he also couldn't face it. He also couldn't acknowledge it, so he tried to curse it away. And Gullius is proof of how much Orpah struggled, because if she was really apathetic and she really didn't care about the Jews, then she wouldn't have passed on the hatred to her children. It says that Rus was called Rus because her name means saturate. And why is this? Because her great-grandson saturated the world with Tehillim, which is quite strange that she was named something for the Tehillim that her great-grandson will later on write. And the reason is because Rus also passed on to her kids, but she passed on the opposite of Orpah. She didn't ignore her pain and temptations. She acknowledged it and accepted it as part of the human condition created by Hashem. Rus passed this on to her kids. It was a suffering and pain, but being aware of it and facing it. And that's what the Tehillim is full of. It's full of fear, pain, and suffering. And that's why she was named for the Tehillim. So what does this mean for us? If the conflicts are subconscious and we're not aware of them, how do we know what we should be working on? So this is what I took from this lesson. We can look at Gullius as an example. What could have been a clue to Gullius that he was dealing with something internal when he was cursing the Jews, and it didn't really have to do with the Jews, but it had to do with himself? If he was a self-aware person and he was honest with himself, at some point in those 40 days, he would have wondered, why do I care so much that I'm putting so much time and effort into terrorizing the Jews? And, maybe he could have worked through that. And this is a lesson for us, that how do we know what we should be working on? Things that anger us, things that irritate us, things that keep resurfacing that we keep talking about, but we try to convince ourselves, I don't care, I don't care. Of course you care. If you keep thinking about it, you care. And if it upsets you or annoys you, you care. And if you're not aware of it, and you're just always making it about the other person and you're not facing it, then it's an unresolved issue. And that's going to be the types of things that you're going to be passing on to your kids. So the next time that you're heated about something, once you get past the heat, use that as an opportunity to learn something about yourself and be honest with yourself and ask, why did I care? What, not about the other person. Why did I care? Why was that something that I brought into myself? And this is something that we have to do for ourselves and that we have to do for our children. And this is just a lesson that we can learn from the different approaches of Orpah and Rus. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Devorah. That it was so perfect. I love Jewish history, so that tick that box, and then it's so applicable and relatable. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you.
All right. We are ready for the second part of our program, which is my absolute honor and pleasure, and I take so much nachas in doing this. I'd like to present Sarah Walko, who is a food blogger. She runs the Instagram page called Crave Haven. Go follow her, she's awesome. And she is going to walk us through 2 Shavuos recipes that we can actually use at our tables this year. The cheesecake will definitely last till then. And the pasta you can definitely have tonight or tomorrow. So please gather all your things and cook along with Sarah. Let me just unmute Sarah, unmute myself. One sec. Okay, Sarah's unmuted, awesome. Go ahead, Sarah.
Hey everybody, I'm Sarah Walko. It's so exciting to have you all here in my kitchen from all the way across the world. For me, good morning. For you guys, good evening. So today I'm going to be sharing 2 of my favorite Shavuos recipes with you. I'm going to be starting with a creamy spinach and chard cherry tomato fettuccine alfredo, an all-time classic, yeah, with a twist. And then we're going to go on to a classic cheesecake that you can make for yourself in any which way. The base is super, super basic, and then I'm going to be showing you 2 toppings that you can bring to your own Shavuos tables. So fettuccine alfredo for me just reminds me of my childhood. It was my all-time favorite pasta dish. Every single time I would go out with my family, that's what I would be getting. But then once I actually got myself into the kitchen, I wanted to spice things up a little bit, so this is my version of a fettuccine alfredo. All different inspirations from all different kind of dishes, and let's get started with that. So, of course, you see that I have all of my ingredients right here. I start with boiling a pot of water. Bring it to a boil and make sure that it is as salty as the sea. That is key to making pasta. And then also with our pasta, we want to make sure that it is al dente. So every single pasta takes a different amount of time to cook. So just look at the packaging and minus about 2 minutes, and then you'll have a delicious al dente texture to your pasta. The next thing we're going to be doing is we'll be starting our sauce. So I'm going to be turning on my stove top to about a medium high. And right here I have my extra virgin olive oil, and I'm going to just give it a nice drizzle. All right. I know that on the recipe cards you guys have the quantities. So me, like, I took my time, gave the quantities. I kind of work with my eye, but if you follow the recipe card, you're gonna get this recipe down pat. It's going to be absolutely delicious, and I can guarantee everyone's gonna love it for your Shavuos meals. Okay, starting with the onion. I like to start with a serrated knife with the onion. I'm gonna cut and slice straight down the middle. And then, because we're using the full onion, you can cut the bottoms and the tops off. I know that halachically, if you're not using the entire onion, you wanna leave the root on. And then you can store it and continue using it for the next dish that you are making. So we're going to peel our onion. Ooh, I hear the olive oil sizzling already. It's ready. All right. And then we are going to dice. Okay. And also, we want our onions to get nice and soft before we add any of the other textures, because onions, it comes off as sharp, but once you cook them down, they're actually a really, really sweet vegetable, and they bring out all the other flavors in a dish. So make sure to get your pan nice and hot, and then we're going to lower it down to actually let them cook through. All right. So this video right here. We're going to add our onions into the now hot pan of oil. All right. Gonna hide the temp over there. The next thing we're going to do is going to take our tricolor cherry tomatoes. This is gonna add a nice sweetness to your dish. But at the same time, it's going to add a gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous color because we're just going all out here with our tricolor. It's just going to be a bright and delicious dish. We're going to grab our sheet pans. I gave these a rinse right before. And going to drizzle some extra virgin olive oil. Season with salt. I'm using a fine sea salt. You see it with that wet texture. And then a little bit of black pepper. And then you're going to place your tomatoes at 200 Celsius into your preheated ovens for about 10 minutes. And then you can give them a 5-minute blast on broil to get that really, really nice char. And then we're going to add it into our pasta dish. So we're going to just put that in. All right. Okay, so, woo, here we go. Where's my spoon? All right. So we're going to give the onions a nice stir. Try to get them nice and brown. It's taking a little longer for my pan to heat up, but that is all right. Meanwhile, we'll continue on with the rest of the vegetables. Okay, next is garlic. I know that the recipe I gave you calls for 3 cloves of garlic, but I am a bit of a garlic fanatic. I will add 4 or 5 cloves. Garlic adds so much flavor, especially in pasta Italian dishes. And the more the merrier when it comes to garlic. So add more if you like. These are pre-peeled garlic cloves, but I'll give you a little bit of a tip. So I know that peeling garlic can get super annoying. What you can do is just put it in a bowl, pop it into the microwave for literally 20 seconds, take it out, and you're going to realize that the peel is going to fall off of the garlic, and you're going to have literally cloves just like this one, and it's so easy, and it's hassle-free after all. It doesn't need to be as complicated as you think it is. I'm going to take my garlic and mince it. All right. Ooh, you can already smell the aromas of the onion in here. It smells delicious. I think people are going to enjoy a big bowl of pasta for breakfast. No one can say no to that. Comfort food at its fullest. All right, so I did 2. We're going to add, I'd say 2 more cloves of garlic. Why not? All right, and last one. All right. Okay, there we go. Have my garlic right here. Going to add it to my onions right here, and I'm going to let my onions sweat out all its delicious, delicious flavors. And you want to keep an eye on this because garlic can burn easily. So just keep checking on it. That shouldn't happen. Oh my God, the garlic in here is out of this world. Wow, okay. All right, so next thing I'm gonna do, you wanna go onto your mushrooms. I took my mushrooms and I wiped them down beforehand. Mushrooms do need to be cleaned. I know a lot of people think that they don't need to be, they do. So just wet a napkin and you can just clean them off like that. But I wouldn't rinse them per se because it does make them a little bit of that like soggy, and we don't want that in our pasta. So wipe them down, and then we're going to get to slicing. So using my serrated knife and slicing them down. And I know that you guys are on mute right now, but I will unmute you guys later. If you have any questions, throw them at me. Even any other dishes that you'd like, or if you'd like to, while we're here, you can totally just write down any questions you have. I'm getting them as like a questionnaire, and I can answer them after for you. All right. So I am using baby portobello, which is my favorite mushroom. They are so full in flavor. You could change it up. Over here, I also have white button mushrooms. The more the merrier, and definitely add flavor and texture to your pasta. So I think I'm going to do half and half. Why not? And this is where you guys are probably familiar with a Alfredo. A lot of times they'll do a fungi Alfredo sauce, but I just wanted to spruce things up a little bit, make it exciting, make it bright. I know all of us are cooking for the Shavuos for our families. Why not bring something new to the table? And everybody likes pasta. You can't deny that. All right. I can smell also the cherry tomatoes. I can hear them like crackling in the oven. And they get such a nice char. And they add this little bit of smoky flavor to the dish. God, it's amazing. All right, so I have my portobello. I'm going to go onto my white button mushrooms, do the same thing. Slice them down. Okay. All right, couple more mushrooms. And then I'm going to lower the heat with my pasta. I'm going to continue on with our sauce. Alrighty, let's add these beauties into our pan. Come take a look with me. So meanwhile, we have our golden onions there with our garlic. It smells absolutely delicious in here. I'm adding my mushrooms. I'm adding my mushrooms, and I'm going to let them soften up a little bit. Now, another thing, always taste as you're going. Some people like things saltier, some people like things peppery. So I am going to salt these right now. And also what salt does, it brings out the moisture in the veggies. So all the flavors are gonna combine in this beautiful dish. I'm gonna do some salt, I'm gonna do a little bit of pepper. And because we're adding more vegetables, I'm going to add a little bit more extra virgin olive oil. All right. Wow. This looks absolutely amazing. Give it a stir. And we're going to let these cook down. Make sure they're nice and soft. Wonderful. Wow. I'm excited for a big bowl of pasta for breakfast. I don't know about you guys. But, all right. Next, we have our baby spinach. I just brought this package. It is pre-washed. It's so easy. You're going to take a handful, and you're going to add it to your pan and let it cook down. It's going to start wilting. I'm going to move my dairy products away a little bit to give you guys a better look at what's happening in here. All right. Stir it in to our mushrooms and our onions. And oh my God, this place smells wonderful. All righty. Now, I think a dish should always have a little bit of acidity, a little bit of sweetness, definitely some saltiness, tons of garlic and butter, especially when it comes to pasta dishes and Shavuos dishes. All right. So these are going to start cooking down. All right. Then I'm going to grab my cherry tomatoes, and they're going to be a charred cherry tomato. Give me 1 second, y'all. All right. Here are my cherry tomatoes. I like to keep them. Take a look. I like to keep them whole because it adds so much brightness to the dish. But if you'd like, if you're trying to just, you know, have it all in one bite, you can totally just slice them up, add them in. But we're going to add these right now into our pan. And look at that golden brown they got. Wow. Also, because of all these veggies, I know this is a pasta dish, but it kind of looks like a salad right now. So, you know, think about it like that and you won't, it's a guilt-free kind of dish. I'm joking. Not guilt-free, but definitely delicious. All right. So, okay. So now we have all of our veggies here. I'm going to season them again. Seasoning is prime. You want there to be salt and pepper, and all the things that bring out the natural flavors in these vegetables. So don't forget, season as you go, taste as you go, change it up to what you like more. Alrighty. Okay, wow. Oh, it smells absolutely incredible in here. Okay, amazing. So our vegetables are done. This is such an easy dish to do. And if you love fettuccine Alfredo, it's just fettuccine Alfredo 2.0. You can't go wrong with it. Next I have my heavy cream. I'm going to add about a cup of my heavy cream, and you're going to bring it to a nice broil before you add any other of your dairy products. So opening my heavy cream right here, giving my hands a little bit of a rinse. Alrighty, perfect. Okay, vegetables are ready. Adding my heavy cream. This is whole cream, and pouring it right in. Oh, look at that! Pouring it right in to my pan with all the veggies, and we're gonna let that come to a gorgeous, gorgeous broil. And then meanwhile, I'm gonna check on my pasta. I know that by now it should be a really nice al dente, and just make sure to take it out before it gets mushy, especially because you're adding it into a sauce. So it's gonna continue cooking in that sauce, and you wanna give it that time. So. Got myself a strainer. And adding it right into my pan right here, letting it sit there. Also, another tip, if you are making pasta in advance, like if you want to make your dish on Shavuos and you already have pasta in the fridge, you can store pasta, do it in a container, and just add a little bit of oil to it so the pasta doesn't stick together. And super, super easy way to store your pasta without it just getting all mushy. Okay, so as you can see right here, my cream is coming to a boil. And I am going to add Parmesan. It's about 3/4 of a cup of Parmesan cheese. Perfect. And then you're also going to use some to put onto your pasta afterwards. Everybody loves their Parmesan. I can think of so many times where you're at a restaurant and you're just, you know, have some more Parmesan, please. Can't say no to that. So I'm going to rinse my basil now. This is also pre-washed, but I always like, you know, just to make sure, give it another rinse. And I'm going to take my napkins here and rinse them off. Okay, another thing with this sauce, I'm going to lower my heat a little bit on my pan. Another thing with this sauce is I am going to just be slicing my basil into ribbons, but if you want to make it into a gorgeous, gorgeous green sauce, you can make a pesto out of this. Pesto is super, super easy. I have a great pesto recipe on my page at the Crave Haven on Instagram. You can check it out here, over here as well. I'll tell you really quickly what a pesto consists of. It is basil, olive oil, pine nuts, lots of Parmesan cheese and garlic. There's no way you can go wrong with pesto. I'm just gonna add a gorgeous, gorgeous color to your dish. Today I'm just going to be slicing them into ribbons, but if you are a pesto fanatic, do it. It's great. Delicious. All right. I got my basil here. I'm going to pat dry. Move this to the side. Now, okay. In order to slice them into nice ribbons, I'm going to take my knife right here, put my serrated knife away, and you can come right here and take a look. You're going to fold all the basil into each other, like so. Stems are just fine, don't worry about that. If they're falling off, put them to the side. And you're going to give them a nice thin slice. And always try to get, really important when it comes to your knife skills, you want them all to be the same size. Oh my God. Okay, the basil adds so much freshness to the dish. Remove that stem right there. So much freshness to the dish. And we're going to put it right into our cream and veggie mixture. Oh my God. It smells incredible in here. All right, give it a stir. That is wonderful. Wow. Look how gorgeous that is on its own. Alrighty. So my cream did come to a boil. I am going to taste this, make sure that it has enough salt, enough pepper, but I will be seasoning afterwards as well. So a little bit of the sauce. Delicious. I think it needs a little bit more salt. I'm going to do that. So I'm going to finish off with the seasoning now. Some salt, once again, some pepper, and this is where you're going to add your oregano as well. Fantastic. Oregano. Nice. It's about half a teaspoon of oregano. All right. Great. Stir. And we are now going to add our pasta. Okay. I'm using fettuccine, but you really can use any pasta you like. It's no big deal. You have penne, use penne. Whatever you have in the pantry. Don't drive yourself crazy. Don't head to the store if you have a pantry of pasta and a recipe calls for something. Make it easy for yourself. So I'm using fettuccine alfredo that I cooked al dente. And I'm going to add it right into my sauce. So here we have our pasta going. Woo! There we go. It's a pasta party up in here. All right. Fantastic. Our pasta, we are going to stir it into our sauce. Now, another thing. If you are making pasta, do not spill out all of the pasta water. In the culinary world, they call it liquid gold. You can use it to thin out. You can use it to thin out a sauce. Alrighty. Next thing we are going to do is we want to make this one beautiful, cheesy, creamy, delicious dish. So going to, got some basil stuck on my spoon. All right. Going to add around 3/4 of a cup of mozzarella. This makes it creamy and cheesy and just all around absolutely delicious. And I'm going to add a little bit more of my parmigiano. Perfection. Give my dish a stir. Wow. Oh my God. This is the way to go, my friends. You can see the spinach in there, the charred tomatoes, the garlic. Oh my God, the garlic is taking over the entire kitchen. It is delicious. Wow. Cheesy, gooey perfection. Get it all in there. Wow. All right. So before we plate it, we're just gonna let it sit in the sauce over there for a little bit. In this recipe, I love just zesting a little bit of lemon zest. Once you plate the dish, it adds freshness, it adds this zing, it is absolutely delicious. It combines all the flavors. You can also sprinkle a little bit more of your basil on there, and of course Parmesan, which is, yeah, it's cheese. Can't say no to cheese. All right, taking a little bit more of my basil. Giving it a nice slicey slice. Oh my God. We're actually growing some basil right in our front garden, which I would have loved to use, but we don't have a whole bunch just yet. Maybe the next dish. All right, getting my bowl. Nice, I like to use nice, clean, white bowls. It lets the dish talk for itself. Oh, wow, 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 wow. Alrighty, so the best thing to do would be to use tongs. So you can pick them up and kind of just like give it a nice twist when you put it into your bowl. I don't have a pair of milk tongs, to be honest, but for next time, let's do that. Let's place my bowl. Ooh, that is hot. Probably not the smartest idea to do it like that. All right, let's see. Want to give me a hand? Awesome. Right on the side, right here. Hold, and I'm going to scoop it into my bowl. Perfection. Thank you so much. This guy got up with me at 5:30 today, so applause to him. All right, absolutely beautiful. Okay, amazing. So put that right down. Thank you so much. Put this down right there. We have our big bowl of pasta. Next thing you're gonna do, let's rinse your lemons. Take the same grater you're using before for your garlic, it's all right. And you are going to zest this beautiful lemon right onto your pasta dish. Wow, 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 wow. Smells super, super fresh. I also sliced some more of my basil. Give it a little sprinkle on there. And last but not least, my Parmesan. Alrighty. And there you have it. Creamy and charred cherry tomato fettuccine alfredo, perfect for any Shavuos table. So easy to make, super, super delicious. Get on it. I can tell you it is absolutely, absolutely delicious. Let's put this right here. All right, now everybody's favorite time of the meal, dessert. We're gonna go on to cheesecake. So we're going to scoot over here. Okay. So I have my little dessert station here. We're gonna start with making a graham cracker crust. Super, super easy to make. Don't go for those store-bought crusts. It's so easy to make it right at home and just way, way, way tastier. So we're gonna start with the crust, and then I'm gonna show you how to make a classic cheesecake. The cheesecake can be made into a strawberry swirl cheesecake if you'd like. You can make it into an Oreo cheesecake, into a chocolate fudge cheesecake. That's why I just like going with the basic cheesecake filling, and then I'll show you a couple of delicious toppings to do. All right, so over here I have my store-bought graham crackers. I know that some places they already buy them crumbled. Super easy, you can buy that as well. I'm going to take about half a packet of this. Okay. Which is around 5 graham crackers. I'm going to put it into my plastic bag right here. Alrighty. And do you mind passing me the bowl that's right over there for my, all right. And then flatten it out firstly, that's a little silly. And then you're gonna roll it out and it should become like this. Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you so much, perfect. And it should become this sandy texture. So we're going to roll them out. If you need to maneuver your bag a little bit, do that. Now this should make around 1 cake, but we're making little mini cheesecakes today because we want our guests to try every single flavor that's out there. Or you can just bake them yourself. No one's judging, I'm definitely not. All right. Okay. Nice. Almost done there. Perfection. All right, so it's a nice sandy texture we've got. Okay, I'm going to add it to our bowl. Make sure it's really nice and rolled out there. Perfection. And then this crust pudding consists of 3 ingredients. It is the graham crackers, a brown butter, and 2 tablespoons of white sugar and 1 teaspoon of brown sugar. That's all. And we'll definitely up your cheesecake from the buying just a regular graham cracker crust. All right, so we have right here our graham crackers. We are going to move the pasta. All right. Perfection, thank you. Okay. All right, so with butter, if you like it super buttery, you can go and add those 7 tablespoons. But I'm going to just do 5 because we're making a little bit of a smaller cake than what the recipe calls for. But 7 tablespoons will not hurt either. So that's around half. Alrighty. So I actually left my butter out so it should soften. And I'm adding it right here to my pot. And also butter. Butter burns pretty fast, so keep an eye on it. You want it to become this nice golden color, golden brown color. Keep an eye on that. Alrighty. Meanwhile we're doing that, we could add our sugars. All right, 2 tablespoons of white sugar. And I used to do this as a kid, kind of like on the Food Network or anything. So it's pretty exciting. And then 1 of brown sugar. Okay. Also for brown sugar, if you don't have brown sugar at home, but a recipe calls for it, you can do white sugar and just add around like a teaspoon of molasses and mix it in really nice, and then you have your brown sugar. All right, so we have that. We have our butter. You can come take a look at. Nice and golden. Smells like Shavuos in here, that's for sure. All right, our butter is melted. Adding it to my bowl. Okay, and then giving it a nice stir. You want it to be really packed in there. All right. Wow. The brown sugar and the butter and the graham crackers, oh, sweetness overload already. Alrighty, so we have our crust. I'm gonna move that right here to the side. And then we're making little cheesecake bites. So I bought these really, really cute little cupcake holders. They allow your cheesecake to come out into like this little flower shape. Gorgeous, exciting, because you see all these different flavors on the table later. And just going to place these. I'm going to show you a couple of these. By now you should have your oven set to, you're going to start, because these are mini cheesecakes, to 160. You're going to give them a blast for 5 minutes. And then, oh, I'm sorry, 200 for 5 minutes, and then turn it down to 160 to finish off for the next 20 minutes. Sorry. All right, perfect. So what you're going to do next, you have your graham cracker, and you're going to, forgot one thing. Don't forget to spray your little cups, or if you're making a cake, with Pam so you can get it out of these wrappers or of the pan. All right. Now also what's great with this is that you don't have to bake it afterwards. You don't have to bake it, it bakes with the cheesecake. So if you want to get all up in there and kind of make it like a crust, you can take your finger and kind of just pat it in, but we're just going to make a crust lined on the bottom.
That's terrible. I don't know. Is that? That means the whole life can see me.
All right. Now these should make around 5 mini cheesecakes and 1 cake. There's our crust. All righty. Okay, our crusts are done. Place them to the side. I'm going to show you how to make the easiest, most delicious filling. We are going to move back to our dessert station. Now, okay, I try to make the less mess, the better. I think that's for everyone. I think everyone can agree on that. So I use my nitro for the filling. This way you don't have to take out a bowl. You don't have to take out your mixer, and just keeps it all compact and easy. All right, I'm gonna give this. That's why you have your husband with you in the morning. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, okay, so super easy. You're gonna start with, he's like, well, sweating it off. Okay, you're gonna start with 8 ounces of cream cheese. You can use block cream cheese, you can use whipped cream cheese. Either one is completely all right. I'm gonna pour this right in. Take my handy dandy spoon and add it right into my nitro blender. Alrighty. Fantastic. Next, I'm going to add also around 8 ounces of sour cream. Ooh. Fantastic. 8 ounces of sour cream. Okay, and this, oh, I'm making a little bit of a mess. Alrighty. That's why I always have some napkins on me. There we go. All right. Perfect. Okay, so we have our sour cream. We have our cream cheese. The next thing I have right here is this vanilla pudding. It is so, so delicious. You can use it in creams. You could use it in cakes. You can use it in cheesecakes, which give it a really, really nice texture. If you don't have it, it is absolutely okay. You can always substitute it for vanilla extract. But if you're doing vanilla, you're going to add, instead of 1/3 of a cup of sugar, you're going to add half a cup because you want it to be a little sweeter, because this definitely adds some sweetness to your cake. So I'm going to add around half a packet of this. Fantastic. and your 1/3 cup of sugar, and then 3 eggs. One. Two. And our last egg. 3. And that is all this filling calls for. That is it. Cover it up. And we are going to bring this bread over here. I have my little NutriBlender. And give this baby a nice stir. All right, that's it. There is our filling. And then don't forget, 200 for 5 minutes, and then finish it off at 160 for the next 15 to 20 minutes. When you take it out, how do you know a cheesecake is ready? It does not need to be completely firm. The middle could be set, but have a little bit of a jiggle, and then it sets once you take it out and let it cool off. Going to open my mixture right here. Up to the side, fill it up. Not all the way, we don't want it overflowing. In our ovens, we're trying to stay as clean and neat as possible. Fantastic, and we're gonna place this right into our oven. Okay. Next, we are on to our chocolate ganache. So I'm showing you how to make a classic chocolate ganache. What else I made also right here is I made strawberry preserves. Also super, super easy. You're just cooking down equal parts sugar and fresh strawberries. You can use frozen strawberries as well. I just like using fresh. I feel like it adds that freshness to your jam. Speaking of jams, it's jam-packed. Shot. Got it. There we go. And what else you can do is you can add some lemon zest, and it makes it super fresh and delicious. Oh, it smells amazing. All right, so we're going to start with our chocolate ganache. You can use the same pot that you made your brown butter in. You can bring a new pan if you like. And if you use milk chocolate, oh my God, you can't say no to milk chocolate. But I'm using right here chocolate chips. Where is my snip off? Like Aaron to the rescue. Just gonna rip it open. It's all right, thank you. I have my chocolate chips. Gonna add it right in to my pot from beforehand. And where is my heavy cream? Where'd it go? Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Handyman. All right, heavy cream. So you're gonna do equal parts, and you wanna make sure that this doesn't burn as well. That is all this recipe calls for. I'm gonna add my heavy cream. Alrighty. Over here. Okay, amazing. So we're gonna stir in my chocolate. Now, another way to do this, you can totally warm up your heavy cream in the microwave and pour it onto the chocolate and stir it all together. Ah, yum. Who doesn't like chocolate? All right. Fantastic. Okay. So today I'm going to show you this chocolate ganache. I'm going to show you this strawberry jam and how to just make these mini cheesecakes look absolutely beautiful. It's going to look like you bought them in the store, so some people don't realize how easy it is. All right. keep on stirring because you don't want it first to get clumpy, second to burn. So there is our chocolate ganache. Alrighty. There we go. We almost got it all combined. Chocolate heaven up in here. There we go. Okay. Now, just going to lower the fire. And of course, I wish I had enough time to bake those cheesecakes with you, but I have my baked cheesecakes right here and cooled. Before you decorate any cheesecake, you want it to cool down completely because if you're going to decorate it either with, let's say, whipped cream or with a chocolate ganache or even with the strawberry preserves while it's hot, it's just going to get a very slippery, dirty, sticky mess. All right. All right. Perfection. All right. There we go. So we have our chocolate ganache. Take a look. Almost all melted down. I'm keeping on stirring. Perfect. There we go. All right. I have my chocolate ganache. I have my strawberry. And I have my mini cheesecakes. They come out so cute. Gorgeous crust. And they're just creamy and delicious. And now it's the fun part. You get to decorate. So I made a super, super easy whipped cream over here. I have my strawberry preserves. I have my chocolate ganache. I have some fresh strawberries. And I have some Oreo cookies. All right, what am I going to do first? I'm going to, I'll show you with the chocolate ganache. I'm going to take my chocolate ganache, wipe it down, and give it a nice, the chocolate ganache you can definitely place onto your cheesecake while it's still hot because the chocolate ganache does set as well. So let that, and then meanwhile, I'll show you a strawberry preserve. Hold on 1 second. Let that set. Give this a nice mix from yesterday. Oh my goodness. And then you have two, ooh, super generous with that, but who says no to cheesecake topping? What's also great about this strawberry preserve or the chocolate ganache, you can take it and kind of swirl it and marbleize your cheesecake and have it into the actual cheese filling, which is absolutely delicious. Alrighty, so then you're going to take your whipped cream, you're going to put it on an angle, and woo, right there. Ooh, alrighty. Now, last but not least, with the chocolate ganache, just to make it look oh so more beautiful, you can always just pop on a little Oreo like that right there. Or with the strawberry, this is what I like to do. I like to take my strawberry. Got another cutting board right there. Also super easy. All right, so these are little mini cheesecakes. You want to keep your strawberry pretty small. These are pre-washed, but you can keep the stem on and just to the side. I'm going to slice through my strawberry, but not all the way. Be super gentle with it. All right, and then kind of just like push it apart, just like that. And add it right onto your cheesecakes, and they'll look like beautiful gourmet little cheese cakes, cheese muffins, whatever you'd like to call them, right there. This one's a little overload, but hey, who won't like that? And yeah, that's basically it. When it comes to the desserts, I hope you guys all enjoyed. I'm going to unmute you. If you have any questions, feel free. If you'd like to find more delicious recipes for Shavuos or for any dish, for any time of the year, thank you. For any time of the year, go to my page on Instagram. It's at The Creative Haven. And thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful Shavuos. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Yeah, you still have.
All right. Okay.
Absolutely spectacular. And I'm being objective.
Hold on. Oh, wow. So, all right. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. Where's Mary?
Right here.
Hi, Mary. Hi, Rifki. Hi, Judy. So exciting.
Absolutely spectacular.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
I'm
it.
being objective.
Thank you.
All right. I've unmuted everyone, so you can go ahead and unmute yourselves if you have a question for Sarah. Or you can write down.
Thank you. Oh, this is exciting. I love hearing all of your feedback. I really appreciate it. Should we turn it the other way? Give me a second. We're going to just turn it the other way. Oh, fantastic. All right, we can just do it like that.
All right. Okay, thank you everyone so much for joining. Sarah's going to be here to answer a few questions for a few more minutes. We are so lucky to have had her wake up so early in the morning and looking so fabulous. 6:15 a.m.
It was fun. It was also great to wake up, you know, at the crack of dawn. Felt good.
I'm glad.
Reminded us a couple of months ago. It's good. Thank you.
So everyone, feel free to pop in and ask your questions. Sarah, thank you so much for that beyond amazing demo. And I'm being, as Judy said, totally objective because that was incredible.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And seriously, new
Very
career.
There, I can see some of the questions. I see them popping up, but I just want to actually.
Let me see.
Oh, all right.
Let me see if I see a question.
Perfect.
Hi, Aaron.
Hi, Mary.
Awesome. Incredible videoing skills, must say.
Thank you. Oh my God. He was literally up with me. It was amazing. Thanks, Sarah. All right. All right. I'm so glad to see you. Thank you so much for all the feedback. I really appreciate it. I had a blast doing this with you all. And there's so many more recipes for you to all check out. So feel free to check out the page on the gram. Have a great one.
Thank you all for joining.
As well.
Sister ever.
Have a great support system. Baruch Hashem.
Love you, Sarah.
Bye.
Everyone.
Bye.
And the Plessmanim all the way from Germany, they get a shout out.
מירי היה מהמם.
יופי, תודה שבאתם.
כן, היה מקסים, מקסים.
יופי, זה הכל צרה. אוקיי.
יאללה. ביי.
All right, let me stop recording, right? Stop.